This documentary is based on a publicly available judgment of the High Court of Kenya. Events are presented from the court record and other cited public sources. Some personal names, including the accused and her children, have been changed to protect the privacy of surviving family members, while the factual findings and the sequence of events remain faithful to the court record. Any dramatized scenes or descriptive language are intended to illustrate proceedings and are not verbatim findings of the court. Every homestead keeps its own weather, and no one outside ever really knows what's brewing behind the door. There is a particular kind of quiet that settles over a homestead in western Kenya after dark. No streetlights, no traffic hum, just the sound of cattle shifting in their pen and the wind moving through maize stalks. On one night in Bungoma County, that quiet was broken. A confrontation between a husband and a wife ended with the husband's death, and according to the court record, in the hours that followed, his wife moved his body, placed it beside their bed, and secured the house before leaving. This is the story of a woman we will call Grace Naliaka, a name we've chosen to use in place of her real one, out of respect for the family members still living with the consequences of that night. A wife, a mother of three, a woman the court accepted based on the evidence before it was living with schizophrenia, and a woman who, on one night in August 2020, was convicted of killing her husband in circumstances the sentencing court would describe as shaped by years of a difficult and volatile marriage. To understand what happened that night, it helps to understand the home itself. From the outside, court records and reporting describe an ordinary rural homestead, cattle in the yard, children attending school, neighbors nearby. But according to the pre-sentence report compiled by a probation officer after the killing, the marriage had a harder history. The report described it as a tumultuous relationship marked by frequent conflict between the couple. The same report, compiled by the probation office, not asserted by the defense alone, found that the deceased had been the aggressor in the incident that led to his death. The court also accepted psychiatric evidence that Grace was living with schizophrenia and that this condition had gone without adequate treatment. The judgment does not go further than this in describing her mental state, and neither does this account. 3 children grew up in that house. Following their father's death and their mother's conviction, the pre-sentence report indicates they were living with relatives. Every case like this has a starting point, often something ordinary. According to the facts established at trial, the dispute began over the family's cattle not being tended to. The argument escalated. The court found that Grace's husband struck her with a metal rod. In response, according to the trial evidence, Grace picked up a large stick and struck him, a single blow to the head. The post-mortem findings, as recorded in the judgment, described a swollen left parietal area of the skull, bleeding from the ear and nose, and a blood clot on the brain. The pathologist's conclusion, as reflected in the record, was severe head injury caused by blunt force trauma. The court noted the force involved was significant to fracture the skull. In the span of a few violent moments, a marriage already marked by conflict became a homicide. According to the evidence accepted by the court, Grace did not seek help afterwards. She did not go to the local elder, referred to in the record as Mukasa, whose involvement the court later observed might have changed the outcome had he been reached in time. Instead, according to the record, she moved her husband's body, positioned him on the floor beside their bed, secured the door from the inside, and left through a window. For a period of time not fully specified in the record, she maintained to others that her husband was alive and resting inside. When questions arose, she offered an explanation that he had fallen from the bed and been injured. That explanation might have gone unchallenged, but there was a witness: her younger son. The court record identifies the couple's youngest son, a child at the time, as the prosecution's first witness. To protect his identity, this account does not use his real name. According to the record, his testimony confirmed that it was his mother who struck his father with a stick, not an accidental fall. Grace was arrested on 9th of August 2020 after being located at her parents' home. Under Kenyan law, Section 203 of the Penal Code defines murder, and Section 204 sets out its punishment. For years, that punishment was a mandatory death sentence. That changed in 2017 when the Supreme Court of Kenya, in Francis Kariuki Murwatetu and two others versus Republic, held that a mandatory death sentence for murder was unconstitutional and that courts must be permitted to consider mitigating circumstances at sentencing. This precedent shaped what followed for Grace. Her trial concluded on 30th of June 2023 with a guilty verdict for murder. Sentencing was heard separately on 28 July 2023. At the Bungoma High Court, before Justice D. Kemei, counsel for the defense, Mr. Makoha, did not dispute the conviction itself. His submissions addressed sentencing, that the deceased had been the initial aggressor, that Grace had a mental illness by then, being addressed that her 3 children had been left out without either parent, and that she expressed remorse. The defense's position, as submitted, was that she had acted in self-defense. For the prosecution, Mr. Ayeka submitted that a life had been lost and that the law required an appropriate sentence to reflect that. The court then turned to the pre-sentence report dated 20 July 2023. Pre-sentence reports are typically procedural documents. This one carried particular weight in the outcome. According to the report, Grace's in-laws would not take her back, in part because the marital home had been destroyed after her husband's death, and her own mother reportedly lacked the means to support her. The report confirmed the court's acceptance of psychiatric evidence that Grace had schizophrenia and had gone without adequate treatment. The probation officer's recommendation was for custodial rehabilitation, incarceration that would include medical care, and that would also address concerns about her safety given tensions with her late husband's family. Justice Kime's ruling addressed the shift in the law following Muruatetu and applied the Court of Appeals holding in Charongumbao Gugudu versus Republic that a sentence must be commensurate with the moral blameworthiness of the offender, assessed on the full facts and circumstances of the case. The judgment as recorded described a domestic dispute that escalated into a homicide. A husband who struck first with a metal rod over an argument about cattle, and a wife whom the court, based on the evidence before it, found to have endured years of a volatile marriage before this incident. The judgment also noted that had Grace sought out the local elder rather than retaliating, her husband might not have died. The court additionally found that her actions afterward, moving the body, securing the door, and constructing an explanation for neighbors, indicated, in the court's assessment, an intent to finish off the deceased. The court did not treat this as a case of straightforward innocence, nor as one of unprovoked, premeditated murder. On 11th September 2023, Justice D. Kime sentenced Grace to 10 years imprisonment to run from her date of arrest on 9th of August 2020, meaning time already served would count towards the sentence. The hearing was attended by Grace Sichangi holding brief for Mr. Makoha, Miss Moniki for the prosecution, and court assistant Kizito. Her 3 children, according to the record, remain in the care of relatives. There is no clean resolution here. A man is dead. A woman found by the court to have been living with an untreated mental illness in a marriage the court itself described as marked by repeated conflict will serve a decade in custody. Kenyan law calls what happened murder, and that is the legal outcome of this case. But the pre-sentence report behind that conviction raises broader questions about untreated mental illness in rural communities, about domestic conflict that escalates before it is addressed, and about how an ordinary disagreement can end in tragedy for everyone involved. This has been the Bungoma Homestead.